I'm back with part two of me reading the first part of, of the first chapter of Freddy's The Silver Eyes. Let's get back into this. And Charlie had cried because all her things could never fit into that small case. We'll come back for the rest later, Aunt Jen said, her impatient linking through as Charlie hovered indecisively at her dresser, trying to decide what teachers to bring along. They had never come back for the rest. Charlie mounted the stairs, heading to her old bedroom. The, the door was partly cracked, and as she opened it, she had a giddy feeling of displacement, as though her younger self might be sitting there among her toys. She looked up and asked Charlie, "Who are you?" Charlie went in. Like the rest of the house, her bedroom was untouched. The walls were pale pink, and the ceiling, which sloped dramatically on one side to follow the line of the roof, was painted to match. Her old bed still stood against the wall beneath the large window. The mattress was still intact, though the sheets were gone. The window was cracked slightly open, and rotting lamp curtains wavered in the gentle breeze from outside. There was a dark water stain in the paint beneath the window, where the weather had gotten in over the years, betraying the house's neglect. Charlie climbed onto the bed and forced the window shut. It obeyed with a screech, and Charlie stepped back and turned her attention to the rest of the room, to her father's creations. The first night in the house, Charlie had been afraid to sleep alone. She did not remember the night, but her father had told her about it often, and that the story was taken on the quality of memory. She sat up and wailed until her father came to find her, until he scooped her up and held her and promised her he would make sure she was never alone again. The next morning, he took her by the hand and led her to the garage, where he spent working, where he set to work keeping that promise. The first of his inventions was a purple rabbit, now gray with age from years of sitting in the sunlight. Her father had named him Theodore. He he was the size of a 3-year-old child, her size at the time, and had plush fur, shining eyes, and a dapper red bow tie. He didn't do much, only waved a hand and tilted his head to the side, and said in her father's voice, "I love you, Charlie." But it was enough to give her a night watcher, someone to keep her company when she could not sleep. Right now, Theodore sat in the white wicker chair in the far corner of the room. Charlie waved at him, but, not activated, he did not wave back. After Theodore, the toys got more complex. Some worked, and some did not. Some seemed to have permanent glitches, while others simply did not appeal to Charlie's childish imagination. She knew her father took those back to his workshop and recycled them for parts, though she did not like to watch them be dismantled. But the ones that were kept, those she loved, they were here now, looking at her expectantly. Smiling, Charlie pushed a button beside her bed, and it gave way stiffly, but nothing happened. She pushed it again, holding it down longer. This time, across the room, and with a weary creak of metal on metal, the unicorn began to move. The unicorn, Charlie had to remember him, had named him Stanley for some reason she could no longer remember, was made of metal and had been painted glossy white. He trundled around the room on a circular track, bobbing his head stiffly up and down. The track squealed as Stanley rounded the corner and came to a stop beside the bed. Charlie knelt beside him on the floor and patted his flank. His glossy paint was chipped and peeled, and his face had given over to rust. His eyes were lively, gazing out of the decay. You need a new coat of paint, Stanley, Charlie said. The unicorn stared ahead, unresponsive. At the foot of the bed there was a wheel, made of patched together metal. It always reminded her of something she might find on a submarine. Charlie turned it. It stuck for a moment, then gave way, rotating as it always did. And across the room, the smallest closet door swung open. Out sailed Ella on her track, a child-sized doll bearing a teacup and saucer in her tiny hands like an offering. Ella's plaid dress was still crisp. Her patent leather shoes still shone. Perhaps the closet had protected her from the damage of the damp. Charlie had an identical outfit back when she and Ella were the same height. "Hi, Ella," she said softly. As the wheel unwound, Ella retreated to the closet again, the door closing behind her. Charlie followed her. The closet had been built to align with the slant of the ceiling, and there were 3 of them. Ella lived in the short one, which was about 3.5 feet tall. Next to it was one a foot or so taller, a third closet to the bedroom door. She was the same height as the rest of the room. She smiled, remembering. "Why do we have 3 closets?" John had demanded the first time he came over. She looked at him blankly, confused by the question. "'Cause that's how many live here," she said finally, pointed defensively to the littlest one. "That one's Ella's, anyways," she added. John nodded, satisfied. Charlie shook her head and opened the door to the middle closet, or tried to. The knob stopped with a jolt. It was locked. She rounded a few times, but gave up without much conviction. She stayed crouched low to the floor and glanced up at the tallest closet, her big girl closet, that she would someday grow into. "You won't need till you get bigger," her father would say, but that day never came. The door now hung open slightly, but Charlie didn't disturb it. It hadn't opened for her, and only given away to time. She had moved to stand. She noticed something shiny, half hidden under the rim in the locked middle door. She leaned forward and picked it up. It looked like a broken off piece of a circuit board. She smiled slightly. Nuts, bolts, scraps, and parts had all turned up over the place. Once upon a time. Her father always had stray parts in his pocket. He would carry them around something he was working on. Set it down and forget where it was, or worse, put something aside, for safekeeping, to never be seen again. There was also a strand of her hair clinging to it. She unwound it carefully, and from the tiny lip of metal it was stuck on. Finally, though as she was putting it off, Charlie crossed the room and picked up Theodore. His back had not faded in the sun like the front of his body, but it was the same rich, dark purple she remembered. She pressed the button at the base of his neck, but he remained lifeless. His fur was threadbare, one ear hanging loose by the single rotting thread.